that. And I'll just put from here. Timber! Blood dripping. Ayan. Tada! Ayan. So, I left 3 or 4 leaves here at the bottom para naman makagawa pa rin siya ng food na maayos. Tinali ko itong lahat. I will show you an example nung isang successful propagation. So, this is actually my first successful propagation. So, I'm so happy. I finally nailed it. I'll show you. Step back. Oh. Yes, I'm so proud. Yun nga, last year, I tried a couple of times. Tapos, lagi akong actually umaabot sa point na napaparoot ko naman siya. Pero pag katanim ko sa lupa, dun siya natitig. I always make the mistake na either iwan ko siya sa ulan or yeah, hindi ko masyadong aalagaan na after ko siyang itanim sa lupa. So, I tried again this year and I'm so glad that my first attempt this year is I'm pretty confident it's all very established kasi nagsistart na siyang mag-unravel ng new leaf, tapos nakikita ko na yung roots na lumalabas. Okay, so if you're wondering kung ano yung mga ginamit ko stuff, tsaka bakit ko ginawa yung mga ginawa ko, the medium I used is Sphagnum moss. One of my favorite medium kasi it's naturally sterile. Another alternative ay cocoa peat or cocoa fiber kasi ang coconut ay naturally sterile din. Some actually use just soil, clay, Nasa inyo naman yun. Any medium that can stay moist and encourage roots, pwede na yun. I specifically use Sphagnum. Tapos, may mga nakita kayong stuff na ginawa ko. So, bago ko gamitin, I sprayed alcohol to make sure din na walang bacteria. Tapos, nilagyan ko ng rooting powder. So, this is Miracle Grow Fast Root Dry Powder Rooting Hormone. Nabili ko to sa Shopee or sa Lazada. This is like 700 or something. Pero last year pa to. If you've seen my Sphagnum propagation video, I'll link it up here. Ito pa rin yun. Same jar na ginagamit ko. So that goes a long way. One jar. But this is not necessary. You know, I use this because it's antifungal and it stimulates rooting, of course. But some people can do it even without this. So totally up to you. And other alternatives are aloe vera and cinnamon powder. So natural alternatives if you don't want to use something like that. And then you might have noticed that I dropped something on the sphagnum moss before I use it, and that's Hormex. So it's overkill actually. Just for, you know, for good measure, I added Hormex to the sphagnum moss. And again, you can actually do it without it. I feel like it would really help if I do, so kayo, nasa inyo. So, also you might have noticed, I will insert some clips here. Ito yung actual footage nitong propagation nito. So, if you can see, I just cut na hindi through and through. Tapos, yung cut, yun yung sisingitan ko ng sphagnum moss. So, it's just like wounding it and then inserting the sphagnum in the wound instead of completely, you know, completely scraping off the outer layer, which you can also do. So I'm just showing you one method that also works. So for me, I prefer that dahil tamad ako. Masugatan ko pa yung sarili ko. Also, you know, I feel less open wounds, less chances of rotting. That's just me. So, that's my preferred method. I also use grafting tape, which is also not necessary. I can just use plain plastic. Yeah, that's it. And then I tied it. So, that's how I rooted it. Ngayon, sa totoo lang, itong dalawa, this rooted one and this one that I'm using as an example, I actually air layer them at the same time. So I'll insert another clip here. This was actually sapilitan. I had to cut them because of a typhoon. So if you can see dun sa footage, medyo ganyan na sila. So nagkandaleche-leche na sila. So I really had to cut it. But given my track record that I don't really, you know, I'm not good in rooting cuttings, like, you know, cut rubbers. So I took time to air layer them. So that was early June. So this footage is early June, and this big guy, it was already drooping so bad. Maaga ko tong pinutol. I cut this like after maybe just 3 weeks. Ideally, you wait maybe at least a month just to make sure you have a good amount of fruits. But 2-3 weeks I already cut this guy because I really had to. It was already hanging over front door. So I did the same thing as this. Take note, back in June we still had some harsh warm days. So what I did, I also tied the upper leaves. Kasi ang mangyayari ba, when you don't have enough fruits, it can't take up the water that it needs to support all this. And ang ambisyosa ko, diba, ang taas nitong, this is probably almost 3 feet. So, ang ambisyosa ko yan ang kataas. So, it doesn't have that much of roots to support and to keep the leaves upright. So, tinali ko sila. Nagtira ako ng nakabukas na leaves sa ilalim. So, a few of the leaves I didn't tie them just so those leaves can make food well. You know, it's not all tied up. And because it was still so hot back then in June, I put a bag over it for a couple of weeks. So I watered it, and then I put a bag, and then I put it in a corner. And I made sure na hindi siya nauulanan doon sa corner na yun, kasi hindi ko makokontrol yung water. I just water it when it's getting really dry. So, ang pinagtanim ko pala ay yung low mix lang. The usual low mix I get from the garden center. So, ayun. And then, after a couple of weeks, tinanggal ko yung bag. Pero hindi ko pa rin siya pinaulanan. And then, after a couple more weeks, dun ko palang tinanggal yung tali niya. And, voila! Charan! Diba? It's so nice. So, imagine, I air layered it in June. I cut it late June. Dapat actually ba ng July na. And as I film this, it's August 20. Is it? August 20. So, it took more than 2 months actually to establish this entire thing. So, I'm very proud of this guy. It takes time and it takes patience. So, yun nga, ano ba yung maiiwan kong tips and tricks? Optional ang paggamit ng rooting hormones and rooting stuff. You don't have to, but I feel it helps. And the air layering in itself and waiting, it's effortless, so you don't really need to do anything. But I feel the crucial part is always after you cut the air layered stem. So you just cut after the part that you air layered, and then yun, tatanim nyo lang, you put it in soil, but make sure that it's not getting soaked all the time. And if you can, support the leaves while they can't stand up on their own. And yeah, and then you just observe it when you see the roots coming out or you see new growth starting, then you can say na okay, looks like this is safe. So yun, this one is very ready. I'm so happy. And itong kasabay niya, tinamad ako actually. I should have cut it sooner, but I didn't because tinamad ako. And then, you know, we air layered a few weeks ago, so maybe today I can already check on those. So yun, I hope you learned something today. This is my rubber tree propagation, and if you have questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you like this, it would be really helpful if you like, if you comment, if you share this, And of course, if you subscribe and hit that bell button so you'll be notified of my next video. Thank you so much for joining me. Ay, nakapag-update ako. Thanks guys. See you on my next video. Bye!